stand before you all today. It was only 2 years ago that I was here at my own graduation, delivering the student vote of thanks speech. And I thought to myself, thank God I don't have to do that again. And here I am, so bear with me. So receiving this award for Honarary Fellowship is not just a personal milestone for me, it's a recognition of the collective efforts of passionate individuals in our team and volunteers and students at Phoenix Rising CIC who believe in the power of giving back and have a passion for helping others. Phoenix Rising CIC is a not-for-profit organisation that supports female survivors of domestic and sexual abuse in their recovery after they've left that relationship. First and foremost, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude towards South Devon University Centre for bestowing this honour upon me. I have had the pleasure of attending South Devon College and the university over the years, from a beauty therapy qualification to a degree in sports science, two very different courses, I can tell you. However, I wouldn't be here without the support of my team, which consists of staff and volunteers, and my very own very supportive partner. So myself, I'm the CEO and I run the organisation and facilitate all the courses. But we also have a lovely administrator, Tammy, with us today, who doesn't just support survivors of abuse and her one-to-ones, she also helps support our service to keep going. She also supports me and reminds me to take much needed breaks and copious amounts of coffee to keep going. We also have a lovely team of directors, Ali, who's also here with us today, Jean, Fleur and Claire, who without them the CIC can't continue. They bring their diverse experiences and perspectives to the table, as well as laughs, support, and the same passion and belief as I do in what we've created here, supporting domestic abuse survivors. I also want to mention that it's also the support from a lovely lady who works here at South Devon College, who has attended our courses, who chose to nominate us to be put forward for this award. I just want to say thank you to that person for being one of the most strongest ladies I've had the pleasure of meeting, and who represents the empowerment and resilience you can gain from attending our service. While writing this speech, I was reminded of the different times I've attended the college, and I've got to say it's been a pleasure to be part of South Devon College and the university over the years, where you've supported as a student through your learning and experience, emotionally and physically. This kind of support and learning environment is also what we model at Phoenix Rising. When students attend our service and placement, also when volunteering for us, our values are very important to us as a service, and we know that we share the similar values at the college and the university. So it was really exciting when we were asked to help with placement for students. I was studying for my degree in 2021 and I was asked by a tutor at the university if I'd be interested in offering support via placement to South Devon students within our service. At the time I was honoured to be asked, but I also thought to myself, little old me, really? Okay, we were very small CIC then. But I agreed to help, and I can honestly say it's been such a pleasure to have those students on placement. To have some part in their learning journey is an honour. Some of those students stayed with us and became very valuable volunteers in our service. And on that note, I want to congratulate Claire Miller today, who's here graduating from her degree with a 2-1 result. Claire's been on placement and started volunteering for us after. She just never really left. We're happy to say about that. She's gone on to secure a job, working in the area of domestic abuse and trauma support to children. I know we've played a small part in your journey, Claire, but we are so proud of you and hope you don't go too far. As I accept this award, I'm reminded that the true impact of our service is not measured by accolades or recognition, though, but by the lives we touch and the hope we inspire in survivors of domestic abuse and students who attend our service. We hope that we continue to build on our strong partnership with South Devon College, with students and staff in making connections that can support women who are suffering or have suffered from abuse. We also really hope we can continue to have more students on placement and new volunteers for years to come. Domestic abuse is always a taboo subject, but it's crucial for us to understand that discussing domestic abuse is not about sensationalising tragedy, but about validating the experience of those who sometimes suffer in silence. At Phoenix Rising CIC, we've created safe spaces for conversations where survivors can share their stories without fear of stigma or judgment. Our service supports survivors through teaching them knowledge, either in person or online, through our in-person courses where we combine learning and physical activity at the same time. Our aim is to build a strong community, much like South Devon University, where women can access levels of support, where they can build new friendships, try new things, gain a qualification and find their identity. This year we've incorporated more physical activity to our ladies to minimise isolation and feelings of suicide by building up their confidence, their social environment, their physical health and their resilience. Activities such as boxercise classes, ice bath therapy, paddleboarding, walks up Dartmoor or wild swimming. Although the cold water took a bit of coaxing, we had to change it to cold water spa instead. That seemed to coax them to come to that a bit more. Our aims are to give women the tools to use in life so they can live life free from abuse, so they can go forward and be who they want to be, whatever that is. As a society, we have the responsibility to educate ourselves and others about the signs of domestic abuse, to understand that abuse doesn't just come from partners, but can be family members too, that it isn't always in the form of physical abuse, that it can also be hidden and secretive through financial, emotional and control. The students who've attended our courses and worked with us on them have gained some experience and knowledge and can now share with others. And if that is passed on to just one person that day, then we've done our job right. We call our service Phoenix Rising because sometimes we have to start at the bottom, but without our support and guidance, you will rise from the ashes and start a new beginning, students and survivors alike. On that note, I want to read you a letter from a former South Devon University student who has attended our courses, and she wrote this for us to share her story of hope. It says, "How the New Beginnings course changed my life. In February 2018, I received a phone call from my family asking me to come to Torbay, as my dad was gravely ill. I spent the next 8 weeks back and forth to Devon to see my family and spend time with my dad. I spent 4 years living in Cornwall with my partner, who was physically, mentally and financially abusive. During this time, I'd become estranged from my family. I was miserable, but I couldn't see a way out. I feared the consequences that leaving him would bring. I had nowhere to go and no money. After spending some time with my family, our relationships repaired and I started to see a way out. At the end of March 2018, after my dad passed away, I decided to leave. Whilst my partner spent the day in the pub drinking, I gathered some of mine and my son's belongings in a backpack and we got on the train to move back to Devon where my family lived. At first I felt relieved, but as the time went on, my anxiety worsened. I started having flashbacks and nightmares. I was too scared to sleep in case I had a nightmare. They felt so real. I would wake up in the middle of the night screaming, my heart pounding. Every night it would take me hours to get to sleep. And once I finally managed to sleep, most nights I would wake up in a panic, sweating, because flashbacks in my nightmares. I was too scared to leave the house. I only left to go to university, work and back. My heart sank every time the doorbell went in case he'd found me. Despite leaving an abusive relationship, he continued to have a hold on me and I couldn't seem to find a way out. After suffering with extreme anxiety and flashbacks for 5 years, I decided I needed help. I messaged Claire and asked if I could come to the New Beginnings course. I first met Claire in 2021 when she came to the university to offer a volunteer placement for Phoenix Rising. I never spoke about the abuse I'd experienced before. It made me feel weak and ashamed. As Claire welcomed me into the room on the first session, I was surprised to see the other people taking part in the course. I realised domestic abuse does not discriminate. There were people of different ages, social classes and backgrounds, but we all had one thing in common. We'd all been victims of different types of abuse. Throughout the time I was on the course, I learned about the different types of abuse, how my abuser had a hold over me, had to let go of that hold, realise it wasn't my fault, and started to rebuild my confidence. I felt so relieved talking to others who had experienced the same as me. I felt like I'd really learned how to spot the red flags in the future and be able to prevent it happening again. Towards the end of the course, I realised I'd stopped experiencing flashbacks. I'd started leaving the house more and my confidence had increased. I was so grateful for the course and wanted to help in any way I could. A few months later, I volunteered on a New Beginnings course. It felt amazing to be able to support others who had experienced domestic abuse. I wanted to help others heal and change their lives just like I had. Over time, my confidence has continued to increase. I finished my degree and am now about to start my dream career. Without completing this course, I'd never been confident enough to apply for this job or even attend the interview. I will be forever grateful to Claire for giving me my life back and helping me find myself again. What happened in the past can't be changed. But I now have the understanding about what happened and I no longer blame myself. So I just want to say thank you for recognising our service from all of us at Phoenix Rising. Our doors are always open to anybody. And although we don't support male victims of abuse, if you came to our door, we would make sure that you had support from the other services that we're linked to. So just want to thank you very much.